Welcome to this demo on VeloBrain. VeloBrain is our AI operator for VeloCloud that was introduced in VCO version 6.4. VeloBrain leverages Gen AI to streamline operations and provide expert-level guidance, context, and troubleshooting for customers and partners managing VeloCloud deployments. So VeloBrain can be thought of as a platform, as an infrastructure that we are building as a base on top of which we'll be delivering a lot of different unique features. In this demo, I'll be focusing on two main features. The first one being the AI-powered chatbot, and the other being AI-assisted troubleshooter. So the chatbot is like, any Gen AI chatbot that you have, like, ChatGPT, Cloud or Gemini. So what we have is, a chatbot which is natively integrated, within the VCO UI. And when you click that, essentially the Gen AI chatbot opens up where you can ask questions in natural language about, about our product, any feature, how to configure stuff. If you want knowledge-based articles, you can just simply use natural language, and the platform will provide you accurate information. But with that, let's take a look at the first feature, which is the chatbot. So once you log in to your tenancy, as long as VeloBrain feature is enabled for the tenancy, you should have this VeloBrain icon top right. So if you click that, this dialog box opens up where you can ask, any product related features. Do I configure HA in VeloCloud? Right, so let me pause the video. It will take a few seconds. All right, so that took about 8 to 9 seconds. But yeah, as you can see, VeloBrain gave us detailed information about how to configure HA along with certain citations, which are key because we want to verify whether the information is coming from an accurate source, which obviously it will be because these citations are pre-approved documents, certified documents from Arista. So right, so that's about configuration. Let's say I want to ask something else. How do I monitor traffic overlay traffic on my LAN link? So again, let me pause the video. All right. Again, it took a couple of seconds. In this case, it took 12 or 30. But yeah, it is giving me information on different areas where I can monitor the WAN link. So there's some information about where do you manage latency and loss. If I want to look at bandwidth, there are some steps mentioned here. Overlay traffic. Again, that's right. We go to monitor, we go to edges. We can also look at the monitor tab. And then if you want to look at links, which is underlay, monitor paths, which is overlay. We can also look at flow. So it gives you, along with the information that you've asked for, it also gives you some supplementary details around how do you monitor an edge overall, like when it comes to underlay links, overlay links, loss, latency, jitter parameters, etc. And again, as we saw in the first example, you have all the citations. All right, so that was the first feature. Now let's look at the second feature, which is assisted troubleshooting. If you go to events, you see a bunch of events shown here, but some events have an additional icon, which is for the VeloBrain AI Assist. All right, so let's look at the events one by one. So if you look at the first one, HA interface state change, and if you click on the button over here, what that does is it actually looks at the syslog event that generated that event. That's the event at that particular time. And VeloBrain essentially takes that as an input and starts, performing all the checks. So it has done a few things. So it gave us a description of what is happening. So this event indicates a change in the state of dedicated link between active and standby edges. So essentially the HA link had some issue. Then it is looking at the active status, activity status. So edge state check. So it looked at the edge, whether the edge is actually online or not. So it confirmed that it is online. It looked at edge interface state is down, whether it's down or not. It confirmed that yes, it is down. The event is currently active, and hence we can proceed with troubleshooting. So what it looked at is the actual edge, whether it is up or not. It confirmed it is up. It looked at the HA link to check whether it is up or down. It confirmed that it is down. And then it started doing some background checks. So it looked at the last 24 hours and it sort of looked at how many times this event was generated. So we can see it 61 times. And that was the latest event, for that particular event. That is the latest timestamp for that event. It tried to correlate with any other events, whether there was a manual reboot or shutdown action that was done either by a user on the orchestrator, or whether there was a power issue, as an example, whether there was a software upgrade or a reboot that was initiated, whether the HA link was disconnected physically, manually. So it does a lot of background checks. And based on its finding, there is a root cause that HA link is likely disconnected. So analysis is HA interface state is down on the edge, hence HA link disconnected is one of the possible root causes. The remediation is, verify the physical connection and check the HA LED status on the HA box. There are a lot of other steps that has listed. So for an L1 or L2, knock team, this can come as a step one before raising any internal or internal support tickets or Arista tap case. All right, so that was the first event. Let's look at another event which is fairly common in large deployments, which is edge tunnel cap warning. So if I filter with event is edge tunnel cap warning, apply. You see there are two events in the last 12 hours. Again, we see VeloBrain icon. Click on that. And as last time, as with the first event, there is the syslog event. It happened at that time. The error is established tunnel count of 50 exceeds the SD-WAN KVM device capacity. So again, it basically checks whether the status is active at this point. Edge branch is online. Number of tunnels is 58 at this point from this edge, which is above the max capacity of 50 for this particular model. It looked at the background checks, at recent edge tunnel history. So in the past 7 days, device has exceeded this limit of 50 those many times. So it's not like it is a recent issue or it happened just now. That is or that has been the status for the last 7 days. So maybe there could have been a design change a couple of weeks back, or maybe when the device was deployed on day one, it had certain number of tunnels. Over time, it grew, but essentially in the last 7 days, the status has been, the same. So maximum supported is 50. At the moment is 56. Again, checking edge time on for the last 24 hours. It has received 3 such warnings. Root cause, hardware tunnel capacity, validates tunnel capacity limit for specific edge against a threshold. And then a few more details around how it came to that conclusion, and then what remediation steps we can take to mitigate this particular event. It's asking us to replace the edge with a higher tunnel capacity, review the architecture, and utilize profiles to limit branch-to-branch tunnels. As a last resort, disable dynamic branch-to-branch and send traffic through the hub. And if this was a hub edge, replace the edge with a higher capacity again, scale the hub locations using clustering. So you can divide the number of tunnels. And again, verify branch-to-branch feature is disabled, because on hubs, we do not typically recommend branch-to-branch features. So yeah, again, for level 1 and level 2 teams, this can come really handy, just to interact with the chatbot and get useful information about, whatever they see on the UI. Maybe L1, junior engineers can use this feature to study or learn more about SD-WAN, or more experienced L1, L2 NOC engineers could use this to perform, real world troubleshooting